week's edition of the Blue Wave Sports Show. On our panel, we have Pierce, Brooks, and Andrew. Thank you guys for joining us. So, of course, a huge week in the PGA. We had the Masters, kind of the main event. Bubba Watson walked away with his second green jacket. What do you guys, were you surprised? Did you see this coming? I know you're a huge Bubba fan, so what do you think?
I love Bubba Watson. I think he's one of the most personal golfer on tour. I think he's closely will get to a real-life Happy Gilmore. Just the way he acts, he's so brutally honest. And also, on par 5 13th, he drove the ball 366 yards. So that's happy-like. He just goes for it on every single shot, and if it doesn't work, okay. But more often than not, he will actually pull it off. He led the field in driving, as usual. He's playing the best golf of his career this year, won for the first time since 2012, like a week or two before the Masters. And I really think his career is just taking off now.
I mean, he was definitely someone I was looking at because obviously he won the Masters 2 years ago. Didn't have a successful couple years after the Masters. But I mean, he was definitely someone to look at. But I was actually surprised how Jordan Spieth did. The 20-year-old from Texas, he got second place, but he was in the lead for most of the tournament up till the final day. So I'm really, hopefully he can continue to play well because that would be great for golf to have someone, especially that young, really carry golf into the future.
Yeah, watching the tournament, what I did like about Bubba is how he carries himself. And he's very loose, and he's not really uptight, and I guess nothing's too big for the moment for him, which I like, and you want to see a little realness come out in your athletes, which is nice. So, being that he's from the Panhandle, I definitely have to root for him in that case.
And do you guys think maybe Jordan Spieth, golf is searching for the next Tiger, the next Phil. Do you think it could be him?
I think it could. He's 20 years old. He won when he was 19, his first year on tour. He is up and coming. I think this is actually good for him to keep him humble and goal oriented. I hope he doesn't end up like Rory, win too early then peak, because he went from first in the world, now he's 10th. Spieth is top 10. I think he is level-headed enough to keep this going.
What do you guys think? Could he be the next Tiger?
I don't think anyone could really be the next Tiger. I mean, what Tiger did with golf, winning 14 majors in the span of 10 years was remarkable. I don't think anyone can really compete with that, but I think he could be the next superstar, really bringing golf off into the next wave of generations. But Tiger, what he did is only a few golfers could really do that.
Yes, I'll have to agree with Andrew here that I don't think it's going to be so much as one golfer. I think it's going to be a group of these young guys like Rory. Hopefully he'll come back around, Jordan, and bringing golf back up to the forefront, because Tiger made the country interested in golf when no one was interested in golf, and it was an old man's sport, and Tiger made it relevant. So hopefully these group of young guys can put a little bit of fuel into the game and make it more interesting.
Okay, so also, of course, this is a very exciting time of year for us sports fans. We have the NBA playoffs just around the corner. So the East, I feel like we're probably pretty set on who we think is going to take that, who the contenders are going to be, being Miami and Indiana. But do you guys think that there could be a surprise there? If there was to be kind of a dark horse coming, who do you think it could be?
I am going with the Nets of Brooklyn. Jason Kidd, the second half of the year, I think he just was he should be coach of the year. So, after letting go of Lawrence Frank off the bench, he has come into his own. Darren Williams is, I think, still a star in this league. Paul Pierce and KG are still leaders, and when healthy, they have the star power to get to the Eastern Conference and overtake Indiana. Indiana is a superstarless team. Paul George, I think he's kind of overrated. He is at that star level, but not the superstar level of LeBron, KD, Tony Parker, Chris Paul, those guys. He's in that second tier, I think, where I think Dirk is now, and guys like that like Darren and Joe Johnson. That's actually. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Pierce. I think the Nets could really make some strides and possibly win the East, but it's going to be hard. I mean, their first round matchup is against the Bulls, and the Bulls are a very great defensive team with Joakim Noah, and that team plays defensively. But with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Joe Johnson, Darren Williams, like Pierce said, they could have a solid team. And so it's definitely just the Nets right now.
Yes, as the Heat fan here, I'm not gonna lie to you. Brooklyn scares me. They're the only team that has swept Miami since they've all been together in 4 seasons. So that's kind of alarming. And if you look at the Nets and how they're made, they're shooters. And Joe Johnson is silently just like an assassin when it comes to the end of the game. Like, he'll just murder you. So Brooklyn kind of scares me. They're tall, they can shoot. And Jason Kidd has done a great job in the second half of the season. But I love Indy. It's gonna if it is the Heat and Indy, it's gonna go 7 because Indy is they're not great, but they're good from 1 to like 7 or 8 in average. So I'm gonna stick with those 3 teams. I think Toronto is gonna be they're okay, but they're a little young, and everybody else is just everybody else in the East.
Yeah.
So now the West. That's a lot more interesting. There's multiple teams that could take this. Who is the contenders for you guys? I guess we'll start over here.
I'm going anywhere 1 through 6. I can see any one of those 6 teams doing it. Golden State, I think they are the best shooting team in the league. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, 2 best shooting backcourt in the league. OKC, they've been there, done that. So Spurs, I'm sorry, Father Time, you finally lost one. When will they get old? I feel like they will never get old. Okay, the only 1 through 6, I take that back. The Clippers, no. They can't make free throws down the stretch. You need Blake and DeAndre in there to win, and they can't make free throws, so just hack them. They'll miss free throws. Then other than that, Houston, maybe. Portland, I think, is a dark horse in the West, though.
What do you guys think?
I mean, I really only like 2 teams, and it's the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, Golden State, yes, they're a great shooting team, but they lost Andrew Bogut for the season, and that's a huge loss. Like Pierce said, Clippers can't make free throws, and realistically, Houston, they're a good team, but they just don't use Dwight Howard the way Dwight Howard needs to be used, and their point guard situation isn't that great ever since their starting point guard went down. So I feel like it's just a 2-headed race right now between the Spurs and Thunder.
I wish we had $1 every time we bet or put out San Antonio because I'm pretty sure that person would be rich. I love the Spurs. They're a great organization. You know, we've always counted them out. Tim Duncan's been playing basketball since, I don't know, you guys were like in elementary school. And he's the greatest power forward of all time, if not one of the best. So until someone can beat the Spurs, because I thought it was OKC last year, and then they just killed them. I think it's going to be the Spurs. I really love the Clippers. I love Doc Rivers. I think this is why he's here, is for the playoff push. But there are some issues that concern me, like free throws and fundamentals of the game. But I really do, and I love the Splash Brothers. I mean, they're so fun to watch in Golden State. They're so awesome. I would love to see them win a couple series, but until someone can beat San Antonio and prove me wrong, I'm gonna go with OKC. San Antonio Western Finals.
Yeah, and I think the one thing we don't give San Antonio credit, the reason they are so good this time, because they are so experienced. You know, we say they're old, but really it's experience, and it's worked out for them. Say it is a Heat-Spurs matchup again. Who do you like? I mean, do you think it's going to be, a knockdown brawl? Do you think Miami is going to have no problem? Do you think the Spurs are going to be wanting revenge? What do you guys, if it comes down to that, who walks away?
Well, this whole concern about the Spurs and the Heat comes down to one guy, really. It's Dwayne Wade. What does he have left for these 16 games in the playoffs? What can he do? Because another guy that all we do is put down. He's missed over 30 games this year, and it's definitely been the maintenance program of Dwayne Wade, while LeBron James has played some of the most minutes in the NBA for the past 5 years. And if Dwayne can play and be that number 2 guy that he should be, the Heat win. But it's not going to be easy. If Dwayne Wade doesn't play like he did in the playoffs last year, Spurs win, hands down.
Well, I mean, this Heat team's not the same Heat team as last year. I mean, Bosh is not playing like the old Bosh. LeBron, you can tell he's kind of getting tired for carrying the load. Like
Which
you said,
is understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally is playing for the whole team.
And then Wade, like you said, has been out 30 games. And the Spurs team, I mean, one thing that really hurt them in the NBA Finals was Manu Ginobili, and he's really just turned a corner right now. So I think the Spurs, if they face the Heat, will win the series against the Heat in the NBA Finals. I think it's probably going to come down to 6 or 7 games like last year, but still, that experience. And I feel like Popovich and Duncan just want to go out on top before they retire. And if it's not this year, when are they going to win again? Because I feel like sooner or later, Father Time's going to finally catch up to them.
I don't know really about this series. I really don't. It could go either way. It does depend on Dwayne Wade's knees. Really, he had to have him drain I think twice last year in the playoffs. But Bosch had that stretch this year where he was that number 2.
Yeah.
He was playing lights out for a solid 15, 20 games. He's in a little of a slump right now, but I think this team just has that playoff switch. LeBron, Wade, and Bosch, they know when to turn it on. I think Bosch will find his rhythm again. He usually does in the playoffs. It'll take a couple of games maybe, because, okay, I need to be worried about the Bobcats. And, yeah.
I mean, but who's had to change their game more than Chris Bosh?
No one. And honestly, I think the secret weapon is going to be Greg Oden. I think he'll come in, has 6 fouls against Hibbert, who is being questioned right now for his toughness. At least I'm one of them. Where has he been going scoreless the last 3 games? He was supposed to be the anchor. I don't know where that's gone, so I'm actually more worried about Brooklyn than I am Indiana.
So, about Dwayne Wade, what do you guys think is in the future for him? I mean, as we know, obviously he's not able to really complete a whole season and the playoffs. So what does he do now? What do you think? Does he go out on top? Does he try to milk it? A Kobe situation? I mean, what do you think we're looking at here?
All right. I think that the big three, they're going to opt out. I think Wade's going to take less money because he knows he only has about 3-4 years left in him. His knees, they take him a toll because he never learned how to shoot. I'm sorry, LeBron, he learned from Dwayne Wade's mistakes. He now has a jump shot. He can shoot in the upper 30s, low 40s from 3. He's making free throws. Dwayne Wade never learned how to do that, so I think he opts out, takes less money, then bring in another guard, like a Kevin Martin type player, like someone like that, come off the bench and spell him and come in and start. So he'll have like 3-4 years with the Heat with this big three.
Well, I hate to say this, you know, I would love to see him win and win on top because no one loves Wade like Miami loves Wade. He was here 06 when they went with like an older Shaq, Zoe, and James Posey, and 3 guys they probably found in Publix or something. Seriously, he had the best final since Michael Jordan in 06. And he was a great player for a long time, and I mean, it's just sad to see his game diminish so quickly. But I do think if they do win, he opts out. I think he stays, takes a lot less money because that's what they sell in Miami. It's family organization, family. You know, like Haslam could have left a couple of years ago and he had more money in Dallas, but he stayed. It was Miami. So I think he finishes his career in Miami, but I definitely think he takes less money.
Well, for me, I think Wade I think he needs to retire if they win this year because his knees, it's going to be a point soon that he can't even play basketball for his career. When you miss like 30 games because of knee injuries or various injuries, you're coming towards the end of your trail. So if they win, I feel like he should just retire on top and then maybe join the Heat organization as like an assistant coach or something to still be a part of that team. But I mean, at some point you gotta hang it up, and he's not been the same player ever since these last couple of years. So I feel like I don't like when players do pull like a Kobe Bryant where they're trying to
Just
go,
chase that one more
yeah.
championship.
So if the Heat win, I think he should retire. But
I think no matter what, we can agree that he is going to end his career with the Miami Heat. I mean, there's no doubt he is that franchise, and there's no way I don't think he's going to go anywhere else, or they're going to let him go anywhere else. So whether it's this year, 3 or 4 years down the road, I think he is that franchise. And what do you guys think about maybe him joining the coaching staff and being a part of the front office?
It would be him and Juwan on the bench. That would be awesome. Like I think he would be a good coach. So he seems level-headed, wants to like help the younger guys out. He's been a mentor to Norris and Mario Chalmers. He's helped them, those two, develop into pretty good role players. So him and Juwan could eventually will be on Spo's staff.
I mean, I think it would be awesome because considering that Coach Bo was the video coordinator before he even became the coach. So it shows you how much trust they have within the organization, who they hire and who they choose to be associated with. And I think Dwayne taking a front office position would be great for the organization. So I hope he stays in Miami until he decides to leave.
I mean, him as a head coach or in the front office would be great, or even any coaching job, because Dwayne Wade is the Miami Heat organization. So if you can keep the main icon of your organization, even doing something simple like being an assistant coach, that would be still great to show how great your organization is in trying to keep your key players in that organization.
Well, now we've been waiting for this for so long, it seems like. The NFL draft is coming up. Okay, who do you guys, if you are Houston, who are you taking?
If I was Houston, I would probably take Khalil Mack. I mean, he's just a great middle linebacker out of Buffalo. He's probably one of the only players I've seen in this draft that is a surefire guy that's going to come in there and play 10 to 12 solid years. But I feel like Houston's either going to take Jadeveon Clowney or Blake Bortles, number one. Those are the two people that they really like. So
Do you not see Clowney having a long career, not transitioning well?
It depends, because I feel like Clowney, his work ethic needs to be improved. Like, he has the skills to play at a high level. It's just his motor isn't running all the time. Like, he'll take a decent amount of plays off, and you can't do that in the NFL if you want to play long. So that's why Clowney definitely has a higher ceiling than Mack, but Clowney also has a lower floor than Mack. So if I was Houston, I would try to get a guy that I knew was going to play for 10 years with the first overall pick, so I can build my team, build a championship team. Because in the end, that's really what you want, a championship team out of the draft. So.
I mean, personally, my two choices would be, I love Clowney. I think you take Clowney. The SEC is the best conference in college football, and there's more pro-ready guys than anyone. If you don't take Clowney, I say sell your pick, go down, get value, and because you get a lot more pieces to make your team completely better than just one person.
Me, I would also trade it. And Khalil Mack, he'll still be there at 4 or 5. I don't think Clowney makes it past 3 at Jacksonville. Clowney, I agree with Andrew. His work ethic, I completely question. His production this year went way down. He took a lot of plays off.
But do you think that's because he was just trying to save himself? He didn't want to get injured for the draft?
I think that is it, but you shouldn't do that. You should still want to win. South Carolina had a team that could win this year. They still won 10, 11 games. If they had him for a couple more stops, maybe they win 12, and maybe they get somewhere to the title game, the SEC title, not the national championship. But if they win the SEC title game, they would have been there. But I'm still going with Mack if they stay there. Even though, and also the fit is better. He is a 3-4 outside backer. Clowney is a 4-3 end. I question also with him, can he stand up in coverage? Can he drop back and not just rush the passer? Mack can do that. He proven that at Buffalo. It is a mid-major, but he showed up against Ohio State and also the other teams they played this year. Mack, I actually think will be as good as Clowney, but with a higher floor.
Okay, so you guys have kind of already answered this, but I really want to know who is your must pick and your bust pick.
My must pick. Honestly, I'm going to actually go with the value in the second, third round. I think Zach Mettenberger could be the best quarterback in this draft. He is 6'4", 6'5", 220. He's come off a torn ACL, but his pro day proved he can move in the pocket a little bit and still sling it around. He had a really good season this year at LSU, and I see big things out of him. Maybe be a Texans take him in the second round. My bust pick is going to be Jadeveon Clowney.
Wow.
I think the work ethic thing will slip to the NFL unless he goes to the Falcons, because he has said that's where he wants to go. He's from that area, so unless he goes to the Falcons, I see him just being a complete bust.
Alright, for my impact pick, I curious you're gonna like this. I really like Eric Ebron, the tight end, especially in this pass happy league. He's a big tight end, a solid receiver. He could definitely help any team that needs a weapon out. So he's someone I feel like if he's there, you've got to pick him up. And I feel like, again, he can play for a solid 10 to 12 years. Then my bust pick right now, it's got to be Johnny Manziel. I mean, he's just so, you don't know what type of Johnny Manziel you're going to get. And especially in the NFL, the way that he plays, he's not going to be staying in the league that long if he continues to scramble out of the pocket 20 yards down behind the line of scrimmage just to make a simple 5-yard pass. So that's right now my bust pick.
Well, my must pick is going to be split in half. I'm going to go with Mack or Clowney. I feel that either way, pick one of those guys, you make the team a whole lot better. My bust pick is going to be Blake Bortles from UCF. Much as I do like his stature, being 6'5", big arm, I just feel like I haven't seen enough. Even though he did have a great bowl game against Oklahoma, I feel that he's going to go a little higher than expected, or he should go.
Okay. You're not going to be happy with this, but my must is going to have to be Clowney. I think he has the talent. I think he will have the work ethic once he is in the NFL. At least I'm hoping. I think he's going to translate very well, and my bust has got to be Manziel. I'm just not sold on him. He can be whatever the Wonderlic test. That doesn't really impress me much. I think if he does go high, whatever team does end up getting him is going to regret it. But it'll definitely be interesting to see. I know we're all looking forward to it. Real quick before we go, Andrew, I know you're the big hockey fan. So, and of course we have Stanley Cup playoffs coming up. Who do we think is going to take this one?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of great teams this year, but right now my two favorite teams got to be Boston and Chicago. I mean, they both were in the Stanley Cup Finals last year. They're both experienced teams, and they both have solid goalies. And I feel like Boston's going to win because Tuukka Rask right now is playing outstanding. He leads the league in shutout wins. So I think when it's all said and done, Boston will win another Stanley Cup championship.
Do we have any naysayers?
I'm going to have to agree because I have no idea. I know Pittsburgh's pretty good. They should be
Pittsburgh-
relevant. I mean, I know the playoff seeding's changed. Is that
Yeah,
correct? So
yeah, they changed the
it's more-
seeding. Pittsburgh, it all depends on Marc-Andre Fleury because he could play like amazing like he did a couple of years ago, or he could play like he did, I believe, either last playoffs where he gave up like 4 or 5 goals a game, and you can't do that in the playoffs. You gotta be giving up only 1 or 2 goals because the other team's goalies are that good too. So.
Well, it'll definitely be interesting. It's definitely an exciting time for sports. So we'll catch you next week.